lattes and nut job.
Hey guys, I want to do something special today. Something out of the ordinary, something a little different. Please indulge me for just a moment and let's go on a journey together. A lot of folks have asked me where I got the car. Folks have asked me if I've, built the car, if the car has history. I get a lot of questions about the car. And there are videos scattered out through my YouTube feed that answer a lot of those questions, but kind of scattered out here and there as we talk about it. So I decided today to throw together some old footage and basically give everybody the rundown and the history on Legacy, our 1963 and a half Ford Galaxie. Here we go. It's going to be a bunch of old footage mixed in with some new footage. We're going to try to do the best I can to answer all the questions over time that I've been asked. So if you'll go with me, let's take a brief history lesson of Legacy. This is how I found the car, tucked away in a garage where it had been resting for 25 years. I loaded it up on my trailer, strapped it down, and we said goodbye to Mr. Melvin Rebel Davis, who had ordered the car new from Ford in '63. And we began our journey home to start our new project. All right, so we got the car loaded up, we got it home, and we didn't let no grass grow under our feet. I went instantly to trying to get the car running. Now we get the brakes right on it, we'll be ready to go racing. Okay, the car runs. Now we're going straight to the racetrack with it. I know. Hang on. The car had been sitting for 25 years, and I understand that. I literally cleaned the carburetor, put a fuel cell in the trunk, and that was it. We're going racing. Now there was a reason behind that. I wanted to experience this car just as Melvin last experienced it. Hey guys, wanted to give y'all a quick look at the car. You can see the axle is out in the rear. Right now I'm doing a gear swap in the back end. Got a couple of little things to do. I gotta get the gas tank out from under it, clean it out, new fuel lines, new brake lines, and make it, safe, of course, but it doesn't like a whole lot to be at least able to go on a trailer and go to the track. It's not really about winning or losing a race this time. It's more about getting it out there, getting it on track, and enjoying the guys, and and just having a good time. The very first pass wasn't a good pass, and a lot went wrong, but that car went down the track just exactly how it was the last time Melvin made a pass in that car. And we had so much fun, even though the shifter was broke and it had the wrong gear, and we might have, floated a valve. Such a fun. I wanted to sit in that history and experience that history. That was vitally important to me, that I wanted to experience exactly what he got to experience. And truthfully, between us, that was some of the most fun I've had in the car. There's no pressure. Didn't expect it to be fast, and that was some of the most fun I'd had in this car. But now it was time to start making some changes. So I cleaned the original paint up some, left the rest of the car alone, and took the car to a man named Ed, an old school sign painter. Left it with him with only one instruction: make it look like 1967. And all of this came out of his head. Here's what you won't hear. You won't hear a lot of people tell you the truth about struggles, but I'm going to tell you the truth. That first pass we went down the track in that car, just as we drug it out of that garage, you know what? It was not fast, and we didn't expect it to be fast. But I didn't expect it to be that slow either. That car ran 12 seconds. That car ran a 12-second pass in the 8th mile. You think that motor was wore out? Yeah, that motor was wore out. That car had been beat on. So we did what we should and focused on making the car look right. But then it was time to put a little bit of performance to it. Now, I wasn't going over the top because originally in my mind, I was still thinking this was going to be a street car I was going to put a tag on and drive around town and carry and race some on the weekends, which is a lot like Melvin's story. But I kind of got carried away, but we'll get to that on into the story. Let's take a look at the first engine we built for it. So I took the original 1963 block that was born in this car and bored it 30 over. Throwed a little fresh coat of Ford blue on it. Had the crank turned 1010. And then, of course, a set of used pistons and rods because that's all we had the budget for. Our friends down at Powell done a killer valve job on it. Threw a Elderbrock Performer RPM on top. And, well, we had our first engine. First engine was pretty much a warmed over street engine. I mean, face it, you just seen the specs for it. It wasn't much. Matter of fact, it still had a hydraulic flat tappet cam in that first motor. But I needed a transmission to go behind it, and, well, that was a debacle in itself. We were supposed to be getting a transmission from another guy that we were racing with, and things fell through and that didn't happen. So honestly, it was a bit of the fact that I was kind of PO'd that deal fell through. I'd already started towards him to pick it up, and like, you know what, I'm in the area, we're going to swing by Hightower, talk to Johnny Hightower, and we're just going to get one of his transmissions. That's what we did. We got our Hightower 4-speed. We bolted it at the back of our 390 with a Lakewood scatter shield, a used one, of course. And we dropped it all in the car, and we were ready. We had our first race engine. Would you just look at that big old 3-barrel sitting up on there? Some of y'all never even seen a Holley 3-barrel. Well, now you have. The comical part is to think back then I thought we really had a race engine. So now we take it to the track for the first time. Keep in mind, at this point in time, I have done absolutely nothing to this car other than motor and transmission and a rear gear change. That's it. It's still running the original shocks at this point in time that it came from the factory with. I mean, when I say everything underneath it was original, it was. This was as much of a budget build as you could possibly think about. There's guys out there with enough budget they could have built this car from bumper to bumper the first weekend. We couldn't do that. So when you look at where the car is now, understand this has been a 5-year journey. And it's not been 5 years of redoing the same thing over and over. It's been 5 years of stacking on top of what we did before. So it's been a long journey. And at this point in the story, we're ready to go make a pass with what we thought we had was a hot rod. What we didn't have was a freaking clue.
10 points in this Super Stock World Championship battle. Bobby Purcell out of Anderson, South Carolina, in the Legacy. There you see him. He's going to take on Zach Long out of Leesville, South Carolina, in the Brass Monkey. That 66 Belvedere wagon. Basically a hometown consistent and pulling away at mid-track and taking this win here in the 8th mile. Bobby Frizzell will live to fight another
So the car still wasn't what you would call fast. But how could it be? You seen what I was running. But we were making laps. We were getting some time under our belts. And we were getting some passes and getting comfortable with the car. the suspension was killing us. At that point in time, in that last pass you seen, I think the car ran like 920s. Again, we're talking 8th mile. The car was running in the low nines. And our goal, looking back on it now, you're going, why would you set that as a goal? But our goal was to make a pass with an 8 in front of it. That's all I wanted. I wanted to make an 8-second pass. I didn't care if it was 8.99. I just wanted an 8-second pass out of that car. Now, I'm going to pause and give you a piece of advice that a friend of mine told me, and I wish I'd listened to him. Now, he's a friend that is very fast. Matter of fact, he's got a car that's running high threes. I think he's run a 3.8 or 3.9 second pass. When I say the guy is fast, he's stupid fast. He told me the most fun he ever had racing was when he run in the 8s. He said, once you got faster than that, it almost turns into a full-time job. I didn't understand that then, but I do now. But I digress. As old Sophia used to say. Some of y'all don't understand that reference, and it's okay. We were running low 9s. Suspension was killing us, but we were making laps and we were having fun. Now it was time to start tweaking some other things and seeing if we could get even better. And we did. I'm going to tell you, when we made our first 8-second pass and we leapfrogged, the pass before it was a 9:01. And you want to talk about being crushed. I was having fun every pass up till that pass. And when I ran a 9:01, it was like I was kicked in the teeth. I'm like, seriously, as much as I'm trying to get an 8. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we went from a 9:01 to running we kicked the door in. I think we ran a 889 or something. It was just leapfrogged right into it. Same engine, just making suspension tweaks. Nobody told me when I started racing how important suspension was. So I'm telling you now, suspension is more important than the engine, I think. At least I've been able to somewhat prove that with my car. So now we leapfrog and we're running. We made our first 8-second pass. And if you'd have been in our pit, you'd have thought we'd have won a world championship the way we celebrated that. What now is a silly slow pass, but we were so freaking excited about it. Watch this horrible suspension when it leaves. That was our first 8-second pass, and man, did we celebrate that pass after that one. We celebrated for days. We were so happy. Now keep in mind, guys, at this point in the story, I'm not trying to set the world on fire. I'm just trying to make passes. I'm just trying to be better than I was the last pass. That's my only goal. My goal is to better myself with each pass. I don't have the budget to compete with those guys. I didn't have the resources that these guys had. But I knew that going into it, and I just wanted to better myself with each pass. If the pass before that was a 9:01 and I just needed a 9:00, and that last pass we finally broke into the 8s, and like I said, I think we ran a 889 or something when we broke in. We broke hard in. And you can see when it left, the suspension was still not working like it was supposed to. But we were happy. We were happy because we were constantly making ourselves better. And we had just jumped to that next tax bracket, as I like to say. We just went from being a 9-second car to officially being an 8-second car. And we were over the moon ecstatic. We were so happy. We celebrated, and we We hung out with our friends. We grilled out. We just had a great time enjoying the fact that we had finally accomplished a goal. Well, now we were in eights. So, again, we're just trying to make each pass better and better and better. At this point in time, we had plenty of power. The car was capable of going faster than I was allowing it to go because I was basically strangling it out with the suspension. We really needed to fix the suspension on this car. Should have been done first, but it wasn't. So it was time. It was time to address the suspension on this car. So when that time came to address the suspension, keep in mind again, as you've seen through this video, we had to kind of do things with budget in mind. That's not the smartest way to do a race car, but it was the only way we could do it. And again, at this time, I'm still thinking I'm just trying to build a fast street car. So I called Detroit Spring Company, I believe is the name of them. They don't build race springs. And full disclosure, I didn't tell them that I was building a race car. I told them about what horsepower I wanted to make, about what the car weighed, and about how fast I wanted the car to be. When they were done laughing and realized I was serious, they came up with a game plan for me and sent me a set of springs, and we put them on the back of the car, and it was an immediate thing. We really immediately noticed a major difference in this car. And I changed the front springs. I called Moroso about some trick springs, and what's the odds they don't make one for a 63 Ford Galaxie? Imagine that, right? But we went over the weight of the car, ride height, just a few specs, the diameter of the spring that was in it, the height of the spring. We went over a bunch of stuff, and they came up with a spring that was close to what the Galaxie spring was. I'm not going to tell you what it's out of because I don't want to catch any grief over that. But anyway, put these springs under the front, under the back. We had something to work with. Then we decided it was time to give the car a fresh look also. So I went with a fresh look and a fresh suspension. And let's go ahead and throw a roller cam in our engine as well. I mean, the way I look at it, we still have a warmed over street car, but let's go ahead and throw a roller cam in it. Now, I didn't have the money for the proper roller setup, so I bought a set of used solid roller lifters, but I had a hydraulic roller cam. Now, there's people out there will probably tell you that won't work. I can tell you it worked just fine. I ran a full season like that. Everything looks fine. So then we get out and we possibly make a quick back out in the road and hammer it kind of thing just to see how it would react. And instantly I knew we had a different car. It was instant. You could tell that this was instantly a different car right off the bat. So we've leapfrogged ahead a little bit in the story. So we thought we had broke something in the clutch setup. Turns out it wasn't nothing serious, but it was something that needed to be addressed. No big deal. So it's forced us into where now we're actually chasing power a little bit. So you fast forward to where you've seen some of the more recent videos of this incredible new engine that we've put together. This thing is an absolute freaking monster. The problem with that being is we pretty much had the suspension dialed in, and I think it kind of still is. But with this new power, it's kind of upsetting some things, so we got to do some adjustments and some tweaks. We started out with a car. You're somewhere probably 20 minutes into this video now by this point. Back up 20 minutes ago, we had a 12-second car. What you're about to see in a second or so is nearly 6 seconds faster than that first pass was that you've seen in that car. Now, it's taken us about 5 years of slowly tweaking parts to get there. And again, I'm not necessarily competing against anyone. I'm just trying to improve each pass to make the car better than it was the one before. And getting a little ahead of myself. We went back to work on the car. We've done a lot to the car. We've done a lot of engine improvements to the car. And we've got one just outrageous house of an engine now, making a lot of power. The pass that you've seen me make at Ware Shoals was the fastest pass the car has ever been. This combination is capable of even more because in that pass it hazed the tires and got a little squirrely. And there was also one time there where it hit a rev limiter. I mean, that pass was, as far as being a technical pass, it was a disaster. Still went the fastest the car has ever been. We got something to work with now. It's been a long, hard road. But before we finish it out, let's take a look at a couple more clips here. We did some work to the car. We got the car where it is now. And we went this past week and made a test hit. Made the fastest pass we'd ever been in that car. The car is a different animal. This car is an absolute beast now. That can get all the "I was there" pins that you could ever offer. Went through many changes with Melvin as he raced it through the years, and even managed to hit the track one more time just the way Melvin had it. It's living its best life now as the legacy lives on. As the car enters its next tax bracket, nearly 6 seconds faster than it was back at the beginning of this video, there are some things we need to think about. One is, I always want the car to perform better than it did the last time. Well, now it's approaching the speeds to where you probably need to think one or two things. Either A, draw the line and say this is as fast as we need to make it, or we got to start addressing some safety issues, because the car is getting silly fast now for a 4,000 pound 4-speed car that's pretty much still a street car with just some good suspension and a hopped up motor. You know, it's some things we got to think about. A, do we want to change a few things and make the car safer for more speed than what it's running? I believe it's okay right now, but let's say one day we want the car to run into the 5s. You know, it's starting to get hairy with that particular car running that fast. A lot of things would have to be upgraded, some safety things, you know, maybe a full cage by that point. I'm not sure I want to go to that point with the car. So now we've got to make some decisions. Don't panic on me. The car's always going to be out there and the car's always going to be running. It's just that I don't know that I want to make the car much faster than what it currently is in its current state, which you can see this season at any Southeast Gassers race. Shameless plug there. The car is the fastest right now it has ever been in its life. The car is fast enough right now to where it makes me think about some upgrades to it. One, that car still runs 4-wheel drum brakes. It still runs the original brake drums that came from it from Ford in 1963. You know, we're fastly approaching the speed now where I'm not sure how much faster we can go and keep the car as original as it is. And I know you say the car's been through a lot of changes, but the car, other than the block that's in it now and the transmission that's in it, which could easily be switched back, the car is still pretty much original. I can put the springs back under it. Nothing has been modified to the point where it couldn't go back all original, is what I'm saying. If I keep getting faster, I may encroach in onto that. So we got to do some thinking about it. Now, luckily enough, if we decide we want to go a lot faster, I have options that we can dig into. But those will be for another story time, another day for show and tell, and another day for us to talk about the silly things that we plan on building in the future. So, who knows what that might be. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this. There's a few things you should know, and I'll end with another little video clip. There's a few things you should know. One, Melvin Rebel Davis, the original owner, driver, and caretaker of Legacy, still comes to see that car, and I'll insert a short video here. He still enjoys seeing that car. He still enjoys the stories of that car, and he still comes and tells me all the stories of him racing that car. And that, to me, is priceless. And that is also one of the reasons why I think about, from time to time, of retiring that car. That car's been on the track since 1963. And I think about retiring it because if the car ever was to really get hurt, you're losing more than a car. So there's some consideration there. But now I'm not in any hurry. I'm not in any hurry to do that. I'm not on, about to shut her down kind of list or nothing. It's just something we need to think about in the future. Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a quick 30-minute just rush through history of the car for those that wanted to know the history of the car. And this car really does have a lot of history and a lot of sentimental value to us and to Melvin. And guys, I really hope you enjoy it. Please give us a little love, hit the subscribe button. You know, every subscriber helps, and it allows us to keep doing the things we want to do, and keep making content that you hopefully are enjoying. Next on our list to get out there will be old whaling. So guys, we're going to be getting back to our regular content now, our weekly videos of us working on our things. And the videos coming up, of course, we're finishing up at 390 for the customer, as I've been saying. That we should have that wrapped up soon and be able to show you that. We got a race to get ready for this weekend, power tour, drag week, all those things that we're going to be doing. So we'll be returning to our regularly scheduled shenanigans very soon. I just thought some of y'all might enjoy this brief history of Legacy. God bless y'all. I love every one of you. Thank you for the support to the channel. Please feel free to share this video. Please feel free to tell your friends about us. Hit the subscribe button. God bless y'all. Hope the Lord blesses you more today than he did yesterday, and we'll see you next time.
I'd say it's a nut job.